Welcome back to the Air Podcast, episode 2.
How's it going, guys? So we're going to be again asking questions today, a little bit related to Turo and obviously health as well this time. And we have a special guest coming in here.
What's up?
This is our great cameraman over here, okay? So again, we're going to ask him a little bit of questions as well relating to kind of how it feels to being new to any of this business, right? So what are your fears coming in? What do you think about Turo and other things of that nature as well?
Awesome. So kick it away, Amin. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Amin Kapila, UC graduate recently, like literally a month ago. And I work for a high-end clothing brand. I don't want to say it because I don't know if I'll get in trouble.
Awesome. So great start to it. So Amin is our good friend, and we're hopefully bringing him on as our Turo host to help us out with this business model. As we mentioned on the last episode, biggest problem is actually getting the car to the person, getting a ride home so that you don't have to Uber all your places and you save money that way. So having a trio is a lot better than doing it single. So what are your thoughts on Turo, man? Any questions, any concerns? What are you thinking?
Honestly, I don't have too many concerns on it just because I've been watching you guys do it for the last month or so. It seems like it's a good opportunity. There's a lot of work going into it. Like I've actually been called to pick you guys up a few times myself, and of those few times, I actually helped out with the actual logistics of the business, like taking photos of car parts and making sure things are all right for the most part.
And yeah, like as he mentioned, he's helped us do a pickup and drop off, saved our ass last minute, and that always helps out. And yeah, so great to have you on the team. Can't wait to adopt more cars. And before we continue, I always want to start off the episode with our actual financial audit. As I mentioned, we're going to be completely transparent. So we have seen that, and bear with us, we're not using a regular camera today, so we might be testing out a few things. But main thing that we want to, main differences from last week is since last week we had 6 more rentals, totaling up to about $1,600 worth of lifetime sales for the business. Now these are pre-setting trips, so they're all the way down, and these are on our 2 newest cars. As Ish had mentioned last time, our Volkswagen and our venue are both very much rented out for the entirety of the year. So the 2 new cars coming in, they have a lot of space open up, so we're going to see a lot more rentals from those guys. But yeah, no shortage onto it. We're almost at $18,000 per lifetime revenue for this year. Phenomenal onto that, and very excited to move forward.
Yeah.
Anything to add on, Ish?
Again, I think he cleared most of it. Again, the reason is our Tiguan's fully booked up, and it was at a great price when we early started because that was our first vehicle. So that one, more or less, has gone fairly booked. And the bookings we're seeing ever for it are like September or something very later down the year. The second thing is the venue is still getting bookings, so that's really, really good. The venue is actually doing really well, even for its cost. And then we have 2 new ones. We have a Nissan Qashqai, and then we also have a GMC Terrain. Now, those 2 are the new ones that we're talking about. A little bit older, so we're going to see how older cars do, and we'll let you know kind of, do they make its value, how long it's going to be. By the end of the year, you'll have more numbers, right? And on that point, I'm going to ask Amin a question here. So when you think of, like, let's say Turo itself, did you know anything about it? If, let's say, you didn't know anything, what will be your fears of getting into the business of Turo or renting your car with Turo?
Honestly, the thing that I know about Turo is actually as a consumer, I looked into renting vehicles with them. It has been pretty good whenever I did borrow a car. I went to Vancouver a little while ago and it went pretty well. The guy met us actually at our hotel, kindly enough. We got the car, took it around Vancouver, went to Cole Harbour, all that wonderful stuff, and dropped it off with a tank of gas.
Yeah. Well, the important question and the second one is, like, let's say you didn't know about, like, that you can host your own car. So what would be your fears about hosting a car in a market that you have no clue about? Because most people who are going to be looking into this, or I hope, we encourage somebody to try it out in their area, is it going to be, like, what are your scares? What are, like, okay, let's say you're thinking about, hey, should I put a car onto it or should I not? Because we had that fear too. We talked about this 4 or 5 years ago. Like, first time we actually talked about this, it was 4 or 5 years ago, him and I. And we're like, oh, we should put a car, right? Again, new business, new venture, and there's always fears because one, you have to put in a car yourself, and let's say you're being young or getting out of school, there's like you have nothing, you have no numbers to go by. There's a lot of debt you got to work around, so you're like, you don't know if this is going to be viable, and then you have a car that you're liable for, right? So those are the things that can be fearful. So I just want to ask Amin, because he's seen the numbers now, so he's obviously less fearful, and he can talk to someone else about it to convince them or not be afraid, right? But if you didn't have any experience, what would be your first questions?
Honestly, the only fear is if the car comes back totaled or wrecked or basically abused in any kind of way. Like even like substance abuse could mark the car as damaged to me for the next client that would have to be dealt with beforehand.
What do you mean substance abuse?
Puff puff pass, my bro.
He's talking about cigarette smell, stuff like that in the car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all very good things. I believe last week we had spoken about somebody actually damaging our vehicle and not telling us, and we got onto the later side of figuring it out. I want to clarify with Turo, and so Turo's has a few different protection plans. The main one that we use is a 75-25, where we split 25% of our revenue with Turo on our benefit. That makes it so that all the liability from damages is by Turo itself, as long as, again, we provide proper proof that it was done during the trip. And so the terrain that did receive a little bit of damage, we got full compensation for it. We're very happy about it. And we think Turo was very fair with the price that they've given us. And so I guess that's like a big fear for everybody, right? So what if your car gets totaled? Now, the good thing with Turo is they provide full MSRP. But the one thing we want to mention with Turo is everything is about photos. You have to make sure that your photos are clear. They showcase everything from top to bottom. And you want to take pictures of the rims, every single thing. Your liability is only as much as you allow it to be. So if you do all your due diligence, you make sure that everything's the same, you can have a very good, prosperous aspect on this app. And again, we have not had any single problems. Anytime that the consumer has not filled in the gas, we were able to collect proper gas payments, and everybody's been very good on it. We recently had our first horrible experience with Turo, not with the actual app, but with an actual consumer using it. And I do think that this person had their own problems to begin with. We had a lot of problems before even getting the vehicle, and we're waiting to see on exactly what the review is going to look, and we have a few things that we can discuss onto that end and how to deal with bad clients. I think we did a very proper job as much as we could. I'll let Ish looks like he has some thoughts about this.
Yeah, I wanted to beat his ass. I wanted violence. Like, this man was trying to scam the system, like, in general. Here's the thing. So what he's saying is a 25-75. Turo is A-class. Like, how they treat
A-class.
their hosts, how they treat anyone. They're way faster than any insurance to respond, to help you out, to get you the money that you need to fix up your car. One
thing I just want to point out there, it says average of 3 business days in order to look at the whole thing, to see the transaction and everything. But Turo has, to be honest, has shown us for 2 days, 1 day. And even when let's say for one of our rock chips for our window, it cracked a little piece of the window, they originally denied us. And then when they called us to discuss it, I had found out that they were talking about the wrong chip. So they were very happy to go over it again, and then we got the proper payout for that.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they're very quick. They give you the money quick. They give you the right amount. They're not trying to jip you. They're not trying to do anything. They're actually trying to help. So they're actually really, really good at that, right? So that one takes away a lot of the fears, because we didn't know about that either. Now, again, I don't know about it being totaled, because here's the two questions that I will have if a vehicle gets totaled. One is, if they use your insurance to claim, will that be claimed on your insurance and then theirs? Because that's confusing, right? Because once your insurance finds out that you're car renting, your insurance can deny it personally. So there are certain things that if you don't have a insurance company that does rideshare, you're going to be in the shitter, right? That's just something that is unknown, or a problem that we haven't come across yet. And if we do, we'll let you know how it goes. Second point, Turo is actually really good. Now, the person that he's saying that they scratched the car. Now, they didn't tell us, so I was very annoyed. They kind of tried to hide it. They parked in a darker spot, and just like, oh yeah, it's good, right? And they were just like, he was personally taking a lot of photos, and I didn't understand so much why.
But was he taking photos of the damage or around the vehicle?
No, he was being sneaky because they never told us. He was being sneaky because they never told us this.
And I want to point out, the only reason we found out was because
Yeah.
Ish took it to the car wash
Yeah,
a
and-
day later.
Yeah, I really recommend getting the cleanings done
Right
like,
away.
as soon as
That's
possible.
so-
See, we're in a cold place like Calgary right now. It was freezing, like minus
Actually pretty
30.
warm.
Lots of mud.
Cleaning a car sucks, and there's a lot of mud, so most people are going to out of town to ski or something of that nature, visit the hilly areas. So what most people are doing is they're taking it to these areas that's going to get a lot of mud. So in a way, he hit it, and he knew he scratched it. This was not a scratch that you could be like, oh yeah, it might have been a scratch or not. It was just he knew, he didn't tell us. You know, would I beat his ass? Maybe, but he was nice, so I don't mind that.
Again, for Turo, everything's context. But yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
that really bad host, how we dealt with it. So
Yeah.
I'll start off with what my original conversation was with this host, with this consumer. So this customer who booked out a train. And again, no names, nothing like that. It's all just confidential here. So he booked it out. Originally, he had told me that I get a lot better discount on another car, and so either match it or I'm canceling. And so I just told him straight up. I said, "Hey, this is already at a really well-priced car. If you're able to get something cheaper, I'd recommend you go with the other option. But we're not going to be downing or anything more, because it's a new car. It's a used car, 100%. But we've done all our maintenance on it. We've done all our stuff. We've added winter tires. We've done everything we possibly could to make it a good experience." And so this is where he lied a little bit. So first he said he said, "Okay, I'm canceling." I said, "Okay, thank you. Hopefully hopefully you'll rent from us another time." Then he came back 5 minutes later saying, "Oh, but they already booked out for the dates that I want, so I'm going to keep my rental." I know that's kind of bullshit. I know we're going to bleep out all this, but you can only see the cars for the amount that you're going to pay once you choose the dates. So I know that he's lying to us originally. That was my first cue that maybe I wanted to cancel, but however, I obviously wanted to get money rather than not getting money. So knowledge is none there. And then after is where all the other big problems started happening.
So what happened was we do have 2 keys for the vehicle. We had given him 1 key. Again, that does not matter because part of Turo doesn't mean there's no part that says you need to give him both keys or anything of that nature. This key does have a car starter and has a remote to open and close and whatnot. Now, this is a 2014 vehicle, context, nor does it on our ad say this has a remote starter.
Never advertised it, never said anything until the pickup. Again, we never mentioned this one as a car starter
Yeah.
because we have not personally used it, so we're not going to say anything about it.
Yeah, and then, 20 hours later into the trip, he's like, you don't have a second key. I'm like, oh, we do. I apologize. It's, we can't give it to you right now. He's in Lethbridge. He's in like 300, 400 kilometers away.
We're not going to drive down
We're
there.
not going there. We're like, okay, so we're like, hey, look, next time I can give you a discount, right, for your trip. So if you book with us, we'll give. He's like, oh, you should have given a rookie mistake and all this. And he kept going on. We're like, we apologize, right? You're trying to be polite.
Harassment 101, I will say this.
Yeah.
If you saw the messages, this guy would not stop. 20,
Yeah.
30 messages, no one's responding. 20, 30 messages again.
On the YouTube, we might be able to put the messages up.
Yeah.
I don't want to put it up for disclosure because I don't want to have that person's name there just in case.
Yeah.
Well,
He can use that in general, but let's just say every time you'd be like, hey, I apologize, he'd be like, he just starts slamming you and, oh, rookie mistake is dumb. He's like, oh, I'm not going to pay you. I'm like, really? I'm like, you think Turo doesn't take care of us?
And
Turo's
we
really
were just
good.
saying that if you have problems, call Turo directly, and then there's not a lot we can do, right?
I even tried to offer him, be like, hey, if you change the battery, because he's like, oh, this looks like a fake remote. Then he
I
started
don't know
being
how
like,
that
this is a fake remote. It doesn't work. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So he's like, oh, this fake remote. I'm like, look, we didn't advertise it, but if you want to change the battery, I'll pay for your inconvenience on the battery. He's like, oh, it's totally a fake remote. I know you guys are lying, blah, blah, blah.
It
Okay,
didn't
this is
do
when he
anything.
started. He started being really like, trying to talk that shit with us in general. So we're like, okay, hey, man, whatever, right? At this point, I got tired because I'm like, you know what, like, I want to beat his ass, but that's a different story.
And again, remember being a host, like everything is about customer experience. And I will be very honest with you. We were even thinking about asking him, should we go bring it to him? But after the way he behaved, we were not in any sort of happy spot to be like, this is somebody who we're going to go out of our way for, because he was already threatening us. I'm going to leave you a bad review. He even said, I canceled my card.
He's
I
like,
freeze
I'm
my
canceling
card.
my-
I'm not paying
canceling my
anything.
credit card.
We don't charge anything. Like, again, this is a Turo thing, right? We just provide the service. And it was at a certain point, he was just talking a lot of BS. And so we decided to say, we're not going to help him anymore.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
After the first day, though, I did realize that what he was trying to do is he was trying to instigate us so he could get more proof to show Turo to get a discount. that you can tell that like after a little bit because he just kept going on, no apology
And
taken.
eventually, he did say, he's like, I'm going to leave a long message or you're going to give me a
yeah.
discount.
Yeah. Oh, unless I get some kind of compensation, I'm gonna leave a bad review, like a long 2-page review. This is what he's saying.
We can always send screenshots to Turo.
Exactly. And remember from the beginning of this, he instigating this entire conversation from not having an original discount at the booking, which again, our price is already cheap. He was holding it for a bunch of days for something very below market. We were just trying to get reviews on the vehicle and to test some Cheers power. And this isn't our first review on the car. We've had this car rented out 3-4 times previously. Never had a bad review. Everybody liked the car. It's a comfortable car, of course, 2014. But this is on a cheaper level. So people who want to save $1 and who still want the convenience of it, having a good car, they would take the car. And it's a good car. It works well in the snow. Doesn't give you any problems.
Yeah, it was well maintained. We literally had a 1.0, like a full inspection done on it very recently. Winter tires are recent. Everything is good. Everything is clean. Yeah. And the next day, he started this shit again. He's like, "Hey guys, your windshield washer fluid is all out." I'm like, so 22 hours later, when you drove to a whole new goddamn town / city, that you tell us
on
now,
the highway,
he's like, "Oh, you guys didn't fill it." I'm like, "What?" Like, now he's trying to start something else again. And then only thing I said was, it works, and it had windshield washer fluid because we saw no lights for it. So you know what, whatever. We're like, and that's all I said. And then he kept going, then he's just like, "Oh, that's so stupid. You guys don't put it in. You guys are trying to lie about this all the time." He's trying to instigate us. This was like pure instigation. Like you could see it a mile away from yesterday. And then after that, it's just, then I saw it, I was like, all right, this guy's trying to, so then we just kept saying, every time he messaged, I'd be like, "Hey, you can talk to Turo. You can talk to Turo. You can talk to Turo." Right? And Turo will take all the responses and you can show them a record.
And they'll do it, right?
And they'll take care of you. Like I said, as a host, if you're not like trying to gyp the customer, try not to do that, right? Is my main thing. Or just don't do it. Sorry. I don't even want to say do
Yeah,
that.
don't.
I want to say,
we are fully customer.
believe in business, because if you're going to treat your people well, then, it'll be taken care of, because unless you're trying to scam the system, someone sooner or later is going to find out, because proof is everywhere, right? So we're not trying to scam anybody. That was a big part, and this guy, he was, because when Rav went to go pick it up, he was running away real quick.
Yeah, but even before I was coming, he's like, "I'm gonna leave the car. Like, I'm not waiting for you."
Yeah.
And I kept responding, "Okay. Like, if somebody steals my car, it's on you, my friend. Like, I'm not going to say anything. I didn't even say that." And again, to be honest, a very good customer who says to us, "Hey, that the wash fluid is out," even if we know that it's not, I would be more than willing to tell him, "Hey, buy it. I will reimburse you the same amount and just keep the receipt with you," right? And even give you an extra discount just for the inconvenience. But it goes both ways, right? If I knew that the only thing he was looking for was a discount, I was not going to offer him a discount. And even when he brought it first, originally he was saying, "I'm not going to fill up the car." We just said, "Okay." Like, again, we'll go deal with that with Turo, right? We have no reason to instigate more of a fight with the customer. And then when he came back, first thing he said to me, "Oh yeah, do me a favor, just tell me how much I owe you for the gas."
Yeah, that was a lot.
Completely switched up 180 degrees from how it was, right?
I don't want to beat his ass.
All right, so regardless of that, we handled the Turo thing properly. We went through with the Turo, with the gas receipt and everything, and we do it proper, right? Again, we want to make sure that everybody's experience is a good experience, and obviously you're gonna have some bad customers along the way.
If he leaves a bad review, I will talk to Turo, and I'm pretty sure they'll understand. Because again, like I said, if you don't gyp the system, I think the system will take care of you.
Yeah, and some stuff that I was learning about it, because I was trying to see what would be the process if he did give us a bad review, which was unjust, and unjust reviews are from most part from something that's completely outside of our control, right? He wanted more of a discount. He said this stately in the messages as well. And obviously, we're not just going to give him a review just because he's trying to scam us out of a few dollars. Yeah. And again, it's not the principle. It's just we're providing a service. If you have a problem, again,
that service is at a really good cost.
Yes.
Like that car he got, like if you wanted a premium vehicle, I wanted to be like, "Hey man, if you're looking for a premium experience, get a premium vehicle." Right?
Yeah, but obviously, like any car is a good car, right? It always fits within whatever is in budget. Now, of course, cars that are going to cost us more, we're going to list for more. Cars that are going to cost us less, we're experimenting those because we want to make sure we're providing a broad consumer base for everything we own. And again, just with review wise as well on Turo, you want to keep everything on Turo. So the reason why is if somebody leaves a bad review, but you can show that this was unfair review based on certain bias, like such as the customer asked us for discounts originally, we were not catering towards that, and then they were tailoring towards us, sorry, and they were unhappy with that. You can showcase that. So if somebody's writing you a BS review, you can combat that and keep your profile very healthy. And again, we have numerous 5-star reviews. We only actually have 5-star reviews currently. We really do try to make the best experience for our guests.
Yeah, we've been early for our drop off. We sometimes wasted hours waiting for certain customers.
Yeah.
And that's a learning process, right? Like that's why we have people, right? So if I didn't have, let's say, Rav, or I didn't have someone else, and we're at like 4 a.m. in the goddamn airport, it's just going to be a problem.
And we've done that, right? Ish has gotten up by himself at 6 or 5 a.m. to go give a car. Like again, we're open 24 hours a day. We welcome it because again, we want to cater towards everyone, right? And yeah, this was the first bad experience. I think though we handled it pretty well, and I think Turo definitely has our backs on it, and I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, so a lot of the new people, of course, those are going to be the big problems, right? And even with us, we're just like, yo, why is he messaging like 20 or 30 messages? And they're not like again, if there's a real problem on the road, we're going to address it. But if somebody's just telling us because he wrote to us, you sound like a computer, like what am I supposed to respond to that? Of course, I'm trying to be friendly. I'm trying to help you figure out a solution. But not everybody's like that, right?
He's not agreeing to any solution that we provided. He's not taking any apology. So whatever, his fault. Again, that's done and done with. It was just the experience we wanted you guys to know. And don't deny. My point is like, you know how he's like, I want to deny a customer because he looks suspicious. Don't deny a customer because then you can profile. Then it can be profiling, being like, hey, right. So that's the only point I'm trying to make here. Other than that, like I said,
I just had a gut feeling, man. I just had a gut feeling. I was like, I for some reason I know this customer is going to be our first bad one.
So actually on the customer service thing, like when you were texting the guy and he's like, oh, it's like a computer. A lot of the times it feels like we are computers because again, working in high-end fashion, I have to text my clients every now and then, be like, hey, so I got this in for you, roll up. But I have to say it in a way that's very professional, it's whitewashed.
Not saying like, Ish, I'm going to beat his ass. That's like, hey, my apologies. What can we do to make it better? And if they're not giving you any solutions again, you can only do so much, right? Yeah. And so I guess that's our first horror story on Turo. Other than that, pretty phenomenal so far. And again, like I mentioned, our cost basis is covered. Of course, we added a new vehicle, so it's going to go a little bit higher. But so far, doing phenomenal, and I'm excited to see what the new year brings us.
Yep. And again, he's going to be getting a new vehicle, right? Being a first-time vehicle owner is definitely a little bit more scarier because first vehicle we got actually a little bit decent one. Seeing numbers and estimating per month, be like, hey, is he going to make over? I'm going to tell you right now, volume matters. So if you're going to work with somebody and you're really trying to get ahead on Turo, volume does matter. So have your buddies, be a trustable person so people are willing to give you the money to actually get into the vehicles. Like we have talked to certain people being like, great tip, just in for you, right? If you're a trustable person, we've talked to people letting them know, hey, be like, look, we can co-host for you. These are the numbers you're likely going to see, anything of that nature. So what people are like, okay, you're showing them numbers, you're being transparent. If you're a trustable person, people are like, okay, I'll co-host. One, they build their equity on a vehicle. 3 years down the line, that vehicle is more than paid off, and then you're making 50 to 100% on that one vehicle that you have probably made. Again, depending on the area, I want to be very clear about that, right? It's really hard to tell what area, right? We're not in the U.S., we're obviously in Canada specifically, but I'm just saying there's a lot of input that you might have to look at, and I definitely do recommend doing your market research, but don't be totally afraid, because nowadays, sometimes it makes you more fearful, being like, oh, hey, vehicle, not that bad of investment right now. They don't depreciate hard, so you can always sell a vehicle off if you need be.
As long as you buy it at the good price, right? Everything is about cost basis. You got to buy a good car. If you buy something super overpriced and it depreciates like crazy, it's not going to help your business, right? Yeah. And so Isha's going very ahead into the portion of co-hosting, which is a new process of the business.
We'll talk about it.
We're working into it.
Yeah, we'll once we have a couple more, we'll talk about how co-hosting works. So he's going to be one of ours, right? But he's going to be like a partner, but a co-host, unless he wants to obviously be like a car in with us. But I'm just saying, be trustable so you can get some kind of funding to get these vehicles, right? Do not try to mess anyone up. Don't try to do any kind of bad, shady business shit. It's not worth the value. You're not going to take any of this shit with you, right? It's just a car.
Another thing I've noticed actually recently is we're starting to get a lot more bookings for June and July. The very sunny seasons, hopefully, here in Calgary.
I can see why.
Yeah, and so we're starting to see those book out a lot. So I'm looking very very happily to see how much we're actually going to make those months, so we can we mentioned in the last episode, Ish was saying that 6 months out of the year we may make even, we may not even make money, but then the other rest of the year will make up for it, and that's what we're low aiming for.
I think it's because of Stampede. So what I can probably guess is that the venue and the other smaller cars are what's booking up pretty quick because people are going to need city go-rounds.
Yeah.
Just because like our roads are pretty big, but at the same time, if you want to be in downtown where our Calgary Stampede is, that's probably the choice that they're making.
Yeah. In all honesty, I think every car, no matter what, so people will obviously want to rent for the longer period, the better cars. But as soon as you get closer to the dates,
People
less
take what they
rentals
can get.
available. Everything's being rented now.
True.
Right, everything is like you get like maybe a day or 2 or 3 in between. I think I've had maximum maybe 3 days left in between where it didn't get rented.
That's true, man. And that's like the biggest thing. Like, even
Yeah,
with all the
because
cars.
your fears go away as you have more cars. Because when you have more cars and one car is not running, you're okay. But if you have one car and it's not running, you're kind of screwed.
You're like,
right?
what's going on?
why add the numbers quickly is my biggest tip. Second, I think that's mainly it. I think we have talked about what I want to talk about. Co-hosting will be sooner or later.
And we want to see what kind of cars, because right now we're aiming for like the middle end luxury and also the tight end, of course. So we're trying to aim towards getting into a higher and higher and higher class. But again, we want to be on a broad range for everybody. We want to be just like a car rental company, and hopefully it turns out something like that. And yeah, so what's your biggest takeaway from it so far, and what's the thing you're most excited about?
Honestly, I'm very excited about like just being one of the things. You guys are my friends actually, so I'm just excited about doing something with my buddies. I always like the idea of working with friends on business and stuff like that. I think it's always better to do it with friends than some random that's like, yeah, it's a good idea, let's do it together. Like it's better. It's gonna be
Definitely.
It's gonna be like let's take Top Gear. We'll do it like them.
Yeah, you make a very good point there.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so with all of that, I think we'll wrap up our Turo talks. Of course, this channel is going to be more than just Turo. It's going to be about anything financial and health related. We're going into kind of everything. And so Ish was here going to introduce us to our first health talk. And again, we're going to
I
be
would
tailored towards guys.
I would say stop it.
Yeah, we're gonna stop it right
All right.
here, and then we'll be right back.
We're
with our
all
next
raw,
segment.
so you're going to see this too.
No.